Valorant, you either love it or you hate it. The tight gunplay mixed with the Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch abilities instead of equipment like grenades and flashes makes for a unique shooter experience. Out of all the professionals who are quick to test their hand at the new tactical shooter, none perform quite like Hiko. King of the 100 Thieves squad, Hiko has been streaming and competing in Valorant since the closed alpha, and in this video, we're going to break down how he uses Raze to dominate. First, we're going to talk about the technical side of Raze's abilities and how understanding the angles and physics of them is half of the battle. Second, we're going to talk about how Hiko uses those abilities to zone out the enemy completely. And then last, we're going to talk about how Hiko is just all out aggressive, but does it in a manner that doesn't get him punished every time. And before we dive into that, if you like our videos and our content, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that way you can stay up to date on all of the new videos that we put out when we put them out. We're going to start this video off with a quick math session. All of Raze's normal abilities are thrown by hand. There's no launcher, no bow, no special shooting of the ability. That being said, there's a lot of options as to what you can do with them. Now, the blast packs, Hiko loves using these to displace enemies, but they are tossed and they have a very high arch, which can make it hard to throw them long distances. Hiko has learned how to flick the blast pack up to get the most momentum and ensure that the arc goes farther and use this to land it in some neat little cubbies. Same thing goes for the cluster grenade. You have to know where it's going to bounce off of and when the second stage will detonate and how large of an area it's going to cover. Her boombot has all sorts of little angles. You have to know how long it's going to stay active, and it also has its own line of sight and can be flashed. So understanding how the tools work and interact with the world is half of the battle. With Raze, almost anything is possible as long as you can figure out just how to get your ability into the tricky area. Another big part of Hiko's tactics is knowing that Blast Pack can be detonated at any point. It's a nice little pack to throw in, deal some damage, and force the enemy to reposition to allow for your team to go in and get aggressive. Even more so if you throw it in, it gives you enough time to pull out your gun and detonate the blast pack and be able to start shooting, whereas the enemy might be trying to rotate. Spend time in custom matches, figure out the angles and trajectory of Raze's abilities on each map. Understand that Blast Pack will stick to surfaces, so landing that just right where it can deal damage or displace the enemy is very key. Boombot is a great information gathering tool, something that most duelists don't have. So making full use of that before choosing an engagement is really critical into how Hiko plays this aggressive style. When Boombot feeds Hiko information, or he is able to get information on where the enemy is located, then he kicks into zoning mode. He likes to keep them pushed back into tight corners or small pockets so that way he and the rest of his team can move about freely and attempt to get the advantageous position. As I stated before, Blast Pack can be used to displace enemies, but it can also be used to keep them tucked back in a corner or to stop them from pushing while your team rotates. One of Hiko's favorite little tricks is lodging a cluster grenade behind the enemy, forcing them to move forward and into his own team, who is there and ready and waiting. And this is where the aggression comes in, especially when Hiko uses a boombot and it finds an enemy and starts charging at them. Hiko can swing out and use that distraction to get the pick off. His blast packs can be used to give him a little bit of extra mobility, which can make it harder for the enemy to pin him down. But when Hiko is zoning out the enemy, just know that he's communicating to his team and letting them know exactly what he's going to be doing. You see this especially when he plays other duelists as well, he communicates those flashes. But with Raze, you have to be a little bit more careful as you can damage your own teammates. Hiko's tempered aggression forces teams to play outside of their comfort zone, and he can often catch them off guard and get a couple picks off and pull back, waiting for the rest of his team to come and help him. Once Hiko knows an enemy's position and he has them zoned right where he wants them to be, scared to even peek their head out, Hiko will pull out the showstopper and use a blast pack to dive in and destroy them. Duelists are all about opening up opportunities and engaging, but most duelists have to expose themselves in order to do this. Hiko uses his abilities to draw out the enemy or push them back, forcing them to take a fight and die to the overly aggressive Raze. My name is Malik. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and the bell icon if you want to stay up to date on all of the other videos that we post. That's it for us, and we'll see you next time.